Good afternoon. Good evening, broadcasting for. I want to share my story. I'm in a very special place, reconnecting with my roots, and it's really an amazing time, I think, to be alive as well, because we live surrounded by technology. And so yet I feel that we have the opportunity to be connected from everywhere in the world, like I'm now talking to you. But at the same time, I think my message today that I want to share is about bringing back connection in a basic way, reconnecting with nature and reconnecting with what it means to be human. Is because 5 years ago, I started a journey of transformation. I had a very good job. I spent 15 years of my career in IT, in corporate. I have been lucky enough to work for big label companies in a very male domain. And what I found with time is that so much of technology, so much of deadlines started to burning out my soul. And actually I burned out. I went to a point where I needed to go back to who I was as a person and to my heart. And I think that's what I sense as well. Now that I'm back to my hometown for some days before the launch of my first book, where actually I will be sharing in that book a very personal story, my relationship and what I found about myself. And I think what I want to share is as well, when I say about connecting, reconnected to who we are as humans, I would like to talk about self-love and self-acceptance. And I'm here with Marina. I'd like to ask you as well, Marina, if you are there, what do you think is self-love for you? What it means for you to go back to your heart?
Thank you, Moni. I think your story is so amazing and really answers the question. But for me, is no different than it is for you. Self-love is not about me. It's about me understanding my worth and delivering my best version, the version that I could never imagine before, into a world that needs me. It's almost like people going to the church and asking, oh God, give me this, give me that. And it's not being, you know, just a human doing, is being a human who understands that you are part of a bigger, greater scheme of things. So when you go to the church and you are asking for things and you are expecting God to give you something, means you don't really love yourself, because you don't know yourself. And why would you love somebody you don't know? And the greatest challenge of all times for me, Moni, is understanding who you are, knowing yourself. And not knowing yourself makes you an ignorant. Even when you have 2-3 degrees and you got all the academics lined up, credentials, unless you know who you truly are, you know nothing. And when you're asking for miracle to happen, when you're asking from God to give you something, it's really, God gave you everything. Remember, He gave you everything. You have it all. And now it's just a moment of reflection, thinking, wow, who I am, who I could be, who needs me. And it's not about you. It's about you becoming part of a bigger, greater world. And the world we live in, I think it's wonderful. I think it's amazing. For a long time, I thought it's not perfect, because everybody around me said, oh, it's not perfect, and everybody's complaining. And I was wondering what they mean, but I went along with that phrase, the world is far from perfect. But the more I look at the world, the more I see how amazing it is. And the more I see that I belong to the world, I'm part of it. I'm just a drop, but within the drop I am, there is another whole world. And my duty is to, my moral duty is to deliver my own world into this greater sense of energy. And connecting with other people means that very first step I have to do is to love myself, to love who I am, to love who I could become, and work on it. It is in many ways, self-love is a matter of growing into the person who you could be.
That's beautiful. And I think something that you said very much is about that we are part of something bigger. And that's the sense I feel that somehow with technology, we have the whole world with us, within our hand. Like now I'm talking to you from Barcelona, and that's beautiful. But I think when we look inside our hearts, also we, at least I'm talking about my personal journey, but talking with women that come to me to work with me, and with people that I know for many years, when they start to have problems or challenges in their life, and you know what you mentioned about God as well, sometimes we look outside ourselves what we already have inside. So same with approval, looking for approval or for something, someone to tell me that I'm good, tell me that, you know, everything will be okay. But I think that's until we actually put the attention inwards, and then you start to connect again with yourself. And that's what happened to me, because I was feeling lost of as well, what is happening. You know, I look like I have a very successful career, yet I feel disconnected, I feel alone, and I feel lonely, and I feel that everything is going a bit crazy. You know, I don't feel fulfilled, and sometimes I will look outside. It's like, well, I want a sign, you know, I want the universe to send me a sign, but I needed to get really an anxiety attack and really feel scared about my health and reconnecting with my inner child and everything that I wanted to do during all my life. And then I started to understand many things. When I started to stop blaming the universe, stop blaming everything, the work, for me, there was a big part of blaming the circumstances around me. I stopped doing that, and I started to take responsibility. And I know that was a big change for me, taking responsibility and saying, okay, I'm in this situation. I feel there is something missing. I think I want to make a change in my life. I think I'm ready for something bigger. I know I'm now part of something bigger, but instead of looking the answers outside, because we can be searching and searching outside for years, and nothing will change unless we put the attention in of like some uncomfortable questions, and some we heal our inner child. I think for me was a big part as well, to understand what I was passionate about, what difference I wanted to make. And then is when you start connecting with your gifts, with who you are, with actually what on earth I was supposed to be doing. And then it's, for me now, it's a journey that it's constantly overcoming fear. Like now, you know, I'm hosting this show, and sometimes we think, okay, I'm telling to myself, you know, I cannot do this, I cannot do that, and I stop thinking so much about what I couldn't do and what I wanted to do, and just facing that fear. And then what comes on the other side, it's really amazing. I think my message as well is for many women who know they have something inside, and they somehow feel that someone else needs to tell them, you know, how great they are. And it's great to have people support believes in you, but I think it's very important as well to understand how great you are already and just starting small and going out there and then, you know, doing amazing things. So I would like to hear as well from you, Marina, because you have a big, you know, CV on bringing your heart into the world and writing books. And I would like to hear from you if you had anyone who wanted to create, who wanted to write a book, or who wanted to, you know, start a new career. What would you say made the difference for you to start putting your work out there and stop, you know, not doing the work that you knew you were meant to do?
Moni for me was very strange because I am, how should I put this? I wasn't aware of who I was, and things start happening for me against my will, against my decisions. It wasn't something, it was almost like divine intervention. It wasn't anymore. And then it was just happening, and I just went with the flow because it's it's something so new when you feel that burning desire, when you go along and you discover something you never could even imagine before, and you go and meet total strangers who need your help. You discover yourself as well. So of course I meet, it's a good question actually, I meet more than, how should I put it? It's very rare when somebody I meet is not afraid of their own greatness. Very rare.
Yes.
People always will look for another excuse, and I have a system to eliminate all of them, because I used to be the person finding excuses for my own greatness, and I know exactly how that works. And I know exactly how to put that to a good use, because your calling is not something that was given to you by accident. There is no accident. And your calling is something that serves your purpose. And most of the time, people, even people who go along and go to the transformational change process and they write their book, and then something, they call it life gets in the way. Something happens and they pull out, but then they have nowhere to go because they cannot go back to who they were before they start the process. So they feel lost, they feel alienated, they feel that they don't belong anywhere, they don't belong to the transactional world they were coming from, or they were led to believe they belong to, and they don't belong to another world, to another dimension, because they don't know what it is, they don't know what's next. But what holds them back is the fear of unknown, where in my case, I decided, you know what, I'm going to embrace it. Whatever it is there for a reason, and I will embrace it. This is my truth. This is my vision I'm following, and there is nobody, absolutely nobody out there who could make it happen, because nobody is me.
Exactly.
And embracing your truth means taking responsibility for your gift. So while I'm going along and helping people to write their books and create their own vision, there are moments when, yes, they created everything and they will create some more because we are creative beings, but then they don't deliver. So then I thought to myself, okay, so actually the real challenge is not creating, it's delivering. So that's why I created W.O.R.K.S, which is a platform for sharing your story, for broadcasting your passion. That's why I created red carpet events, to allow yourself to embrace new experiences. Because what makes the difference is not what you know, is not who you know, and is not even who knows you. It's the experiences you are allowing yourself to be part of.
I love it.
Once you've been to the W.O.R.K.S Awards in December.
Yes, beautiful event. I think I'll recommend it to everyone.
So you see, what is that you took with yourself? You took a feeling. Because I know we are led to believe that it's enough to align your values with your actions and your belief, and that's enough. But actually, it's not. It's far from enough, because you have to cocktail everything within your emotions. It's the only way you could win your limiting beliefs, your social conditioning, is when you allow your emotions, when you allow you as a human being to feel. So instead of chasing opportunities, you become the opportunity, because you feel ready. You feel you have it all. You feel you got a lot to give. And the more you give, the more you have. You feel abundant. So all the goals society makes you think that are outside, that earthly goals, that are outside yourself, actually they are very, it's almost like a diversion from following your purpose. Because yes, you could buy the next big house, yes, you can buy the next big thing, gadget, car, whatever it is, holiday. But then what's next is going to be another goal. Is you made your first million, then people expect of you to make the second, the third. And maybe you get tired. Maybe you are feeling, so what is in for me? What's happening with all this? I don't want any of this. Actually, I interviewed recently somebody who was telling me, I never wanted any of this. But hey, it was somebody's vision. You become part of somebody else's vision. And for me, personally, I think being part of somebody else's vision is great, because you could deliver your own contribution, and you could deliver, which is yourself. But actually turning your dream into a vision, and embracing and validating your own vision is the real deal. Before that, you are just trying, like you could have a try anything, and you could be very good at, but then you realize a void inside. Because even most people say, oh, I've been through all these struggles and I learned from it. But the truth is that everything that happens to you happened for you to grow into the person who can deliver their life purpose, who can deliver their life calling. So it is without doubt in my mind that you make the decisions. And unless you make the decisions of what's next in your life, you can't expect anything. You can't expect others to be you. And it's almost, Moni, like discovering the secret of life. For me, for some people it's different things, but for me, the secret of life is sharing your story, sharing the good news, because you, Moni, you are the good news. You are bringing so much joy into the world because you've been through the process, you survived, you created a system. And what most people have, they have the strength, they have everything. They have the knowledge, they have the energy, they have everything. What they're missing is the system. And you provide the solution for them. You give them a system which is transferable, and it's almost like lighting a candle with another candle.
I love that. Yes, I'm all about life. And you said so much valuable things, and I think it's amazing what you say about the emotions and feeling the emotions, because I think sometimes we fear to connect with those emotions. They are too painful or they are too overwhelming. But I think it's about not suppressing emotions is where really connect us with something bigger. And I had that experience. I was aware that I was suppressing many of my emotions. And sometimes even, since I came back to Barcelona, I started to feel very emotional about. I go back to the connection of one of your speech in the BAFTA about life and how much we give importance to certain things, what is people going to say if we screw up in front of a stage or or if we write a book and no one like it, and we tend to fear the outcome or the failure and so on. But because we are so attached to the ego or ourselves, like we think we are so the world is going around us, but we are tiny a spark of light or stardust in the sky, and we are just here to shine whatever we have to share and experience. And for many years, I think I was scared of my own light, and still every day I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing? Start connecting to those emotions and start, just overcoming anything. Okay, I know I'm scared now. I know now I'm sad because, I see how time is flying, and every day, the world is amazing. I totally agree with you. I think we are so lucky to be alive in this lifetime. And at the same time, when we see something happens, someone next to us is sick or passed away, it brings some feelings in my heart of to keep doing the work, because it's like, okay, in 50 years down the lane, I don't know where I'm going to be. I don't know where I'm going to be tomorrow, and why am I worrying so much about what is say or won't say? If I'm connected to my center, I'm connected to my mission, my vision. I think it's when we take that inner power. I'm all about inner power, and something you said as well is about the calling. I'm curious to know, so obviously you heard your calling and you're living your purpose already. I heard the calling, and I started to live my purpose as well. And so what would you say to people who is in that stage where they know there's something else they want to do, but they don't have that calling? They because I get people sometimes say, well, I don't know what's my purpose, or I don't know the calling. So what would you say to those people? How can they connect to their purpose, or how can they connect with what's there for them to really start tapping into that mission that they
So this is this is something so personal to each one of us.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, when people are asking me this question, I have only one answer. It's a very simple answer, and maybe doesn't help anyone, but actually you have to follow your heart.
Oh, I love it. Totally. I love it.
Just think about it. So how do I know who you are unless you know who you are?
Exactly.
Most people expect other people to validate them, to tell them who they are, to praise them, or to... And the truth is that you have to become your own spokesperson. You have to tell people who you are. Yes. Unless you tell them, you can't help anyone. They will just guess, and guessing is very easy, but it's also very damaging. So you are there waiting for people to guess who you are, to guess your mind, that old saying, a penny for your photo, whatever it's called. So I can't even imagine who you are unless you are telling me. Because when you are telling me, you are taking responsibility for your talent. And this is crucial. This is the very fabric of greatness. Once you take responsibility is when you start mastering your talent. There's no point in me telling you, Moni, you got a book inside, write it and all that, unless you take responsibility. Yeah. And yes, I have the tools to help you. I have the tools to broadcast your passion. And we have this great community in over 32 countries now, where people are storytellers. They're sharing their truth. They're validating their own vision. And it's contagious. Success is contagious.
I think so.
Created this Quantum of Light, which now is a magazine for authors and authors to be. But it's written by authors, by minds that made a significant difference already in their own life And of course, that extends to other people's life, because you can't help anyone unless you help yourself, unless you understand your strength and you start working on it. And unless you focus on who you are, and unless you focus on who you could be, unless you focus on what you already have, and stop chasing what you don't have, stop complaining about what you don't have, because that's defeating the purpose. Over to you, Moni.
Yes, I think what you said about focusing on what we don't have instead of going inwards on what we already have, and that's what have been actually the key of when, well, I speak about it in the story that I share in the book that is releasing next week, and I speak about basically my divorce and then how I found true love, and I speak about my inner child. And when I went through, actually, I realized that actually it was for me tapping back into all these experiences was going back into my heart. I love what you said, because that's actually when I started to realize, that I didn't know myself completely, or at least I forgot. I realized I didn't even know why I was in a relationship at that stage, or why I was feeling so disconnected. The only way I had to actually connect with all my passions and with my gift was actually going inwards. And I went into a personal development journey, but when everything and I really started to actually understand that I was a mirror of whatever was happening in my life, and we are all mirrors, and taking responsibility. That's something you mentioned as well, and I think we can be blaming the outside things, we can be focusing on what we don't have, but when we start, for me, shifting the perception, shifting the mindset, and starting to take responsibility of everything that happened to me. Why am I in this relationship? Why am I in my life? Connection that happened with my emotions, with my sadness, with my feeling lonely all the time. And I realized that actually as a kid, I was already all my life feeling lonely. And this sense of disconnection happened because, the society brings you into a place where, you are told what to do, where you are told where to study. Sometimes you don't even know much. You don't have the space. I think as a child, I didn't have this. I had some space to express my creativity on writing, but then you go into school, you are in a system, and we start looking outwards and what is people telling us to do. And that's what I found, that for me, at some point, I disconnected from that desire that I had in my heart, and I kind of locked it down. And for many years, I just went in autopilot, doing whatever society or whatever the exterior, is telling me. And what I think as well, I was doing all these things because I probably didn't fully and completely love myself, or I didn't get to know myself in a deeper way. So that's very powerful as well, what you mentioned about listening to your heart, because I totally believe that for me it's a romantic idea, but I always did this in my life. Every time I did something in my life that I had a dream and I followed my heart, it happened, and it happened. I believe in magic, but it happens as well because you start taking that vision into action, and there is a desire that moves you, and you want to continue moving forward. There is something big.
So you are saying, Moni, that the miracle you've been waiting for is you, and once you deliver the miracle within you, you realize how much more there is to life. You realize that, yes, this sounds crazy. This sounds like just a romantic hear the bracket idea, but actually
Yes.
everything
Mm.
happens when you are ready, when you feel you are ready. And also,
Yes.
I think that the standards of your life are determined by the standards of your thinking. So you cannot go places where your mind cannot go. Everything happens first in your mind, and then you deliver that into reality. Second, in reality, you actually make your own reality. What's real? What's real?
Yes.
Tell me what's real. The only reality I know right now is that you are sharing your story. You are full of love, and you have something to give. It's not about going and getting something. It's about giving something that's never been offered before. You are giving yourself to the world, and how beautiful is that?
Yes.
I am afraid you have very little time left for today. I can't
Yes.
wait for your next show, Moni. I feel
Yes.
so humbled that you are here and you are sharing with us your amazingness. And I want our listeners to remember until next time who they are. Who are you and where are you going? From both of us, until next time is goodbye.
Yes. Thank you. Goodbye. Thank you, Marina.